Today I was at the supermarket, went to see what they had in the fridge and found baked grasshoppers and silk moth chrysalis. Now I must say most Japanese are equally grossed out by this as I am, but when you then drive your car through the supermarket, it's already late at night, close to closing, all of a sudden you hear this music. And this music is played not only in supermarkets but also in parks, bars, anywhere where there is a closing time. And it indicates that you only have a couple of minutes left and it's time to leave. Speaking of music, do you know this song? Most people don't, I guess. It's a German song from 1979 and it's super popular in Japan. And the funny thing is, most Japanese don't even know it's a German song. I drove home and in Japan they do something very weird when driving, and that is they drive on the left. I mean, who does that? Okay, stop. It was a joke. It was a joke. Move your mouse away from that button to the right. Okay, now click. Good. Good. Now imagine you have a house, you have a garden. What do you do with that? Maybe have a nice lawn so that your kids can play or something like that. In Japan, people tend to put stones there. And not small stones, big f***ing rocks. If the garden is well made, this can absolutely have a pleasing aesthetic. And of course, this is, as anything on this list, explainable by cultural differences. Still, what I'm actually very concerned, confused and worried about is the opposite of that. Many homeowners decide that they need a parking area, so concrete there. That's fine, I think, because in Japan you're not allowed to park on the street, so parking area is fair. But then, why do you have to tar everything else as well? You could have a garden there. It could be nice, it could be green, it could be nature, but no. You have your parking lot, concrete, and everything else needs to be concrete as well. That's something I personally, as a nature lover, do not understand and think is very, very concerning and weird. Another thing there is in Japan a lot is manual labor that's not necessary or could be automated. And a prime example for this is people holding lightsabers. So they're outside having a small lightsaber, and then with this small little light, they control the traffic. For example, if there's a construction, if a road is closed, and so on. Now this again is of course a cultural thing. It is connected to how people are served in Japan. The level of service is quite high, so you want to give the experience of actually people that you can talk to if you have to, and that guide the traffic actively. Many of these people are actually elderly. They're already retired, but then still do this job. And why that is something we need to talk about in another video. Buying a house in Japan is, in my eyes, not an investment, but mostly a lifestyle decision. And that is because houses, generally speaking, depreciate. So in the West, usually you have your plan, you probably calculate about 25 years, then you should have paid everything off with the savings you have on rent or with the rent you get by renting out your property. And then you still have a house and land that both appreciated in value. In Japan, the house itself is essentially worthless after 30 years for the biggest part right now. That means the land may have gained in value, it may have stayed stable, depending on where you are. If you're on the mountains, most likely right now, there won't be any value left whatsoever. Japan also has an aging society, and this combined then leads to a lot of properties in Japan being abandoned. They cannot be rented out anymore, the house is too old, you would have to demolish it, build a new one, but then they are too far away from the cities, so nobody wants to live there anyway, so they just stand empty. Let's say you need money. Where do you go? Exactly, an ATM. Let's say you need money at 6 p.m. Where do you go? ATM? Yeah. You may be out of luck in Japan because it may be closed. And if it's not closed, then you may have to pay extra because it's outside of the regular business hours of the bank in which the ATM is located. So even though it's a machine and works the same at any time of the day, there's an extra fee. If it's Sunday, extra fee. If it's a holiday, extra fee. That's how ATMs work in Japan, and is something I hope we will be able to overcome pretty soon here. And finally, the last one, the absolute weirdest thing in Japan is all these foreigners with their cameras trying to explain to you that Japan is way weirder than it actually is.